These are apple boxes. They're just sturdy and affordable wood boxes typically used in filmmaking. But today we're going to talk about how they can be a big help around any home. Man, that intro took a long time. I hope you liked that. So yes, today we're talking about apple boxes. I know, it's just a wood box. What could be so special? Well, you just saw a bunch of the ways that it can be used around a house. I'll touch on all those specific use cases in just a second. I think it's just important to give you a little bit of context around these products, these boxes as commodities. There's not a single company that makes like the Apple box. They're basically just a standard. And there's a few important reasons why this is not just any old wooden rectangular cube. Most importantly, they are very, very sturdy and durable. It depends on what face you're talking about, but it's about 1/2 to 3/4 inch plywood all the way around. And what I may have trouble showing is there's actually another one of these faces in the middle so that if you're standing on it, there's more support at what would normally be its weakest point. If you want to, you could make them yourself, but because they cost only 40 bucks, I think it's really not worth the trouble and you should just buy one. But if you still want to customize them and make them work for you better or fit into the style of your home, the material is really easy to work with. They're pretty much all just made out of unfinished birch plywood. Because of that, you can easily sand them, drill in them, cut them, paint them. So I picked these up before I realized how useful they would be to have around the home. So they have this Film Tools logo burned into them, which I tried to sand off, but apparently branding goes pretty deep. I still did just sand all the sides and lacquer it to give it a little bit more of a finished look. I see a lot of people paint them black, which could fit in a little bit better to a home, but you know, I really like the kind of utilitarian aesthetic, so I really don't mind having them out like this. I mean, you can see my dining room table. It's pretty much just birch plywood with clear lacquer on it. This is also called a full apple. There is also a half at half the dimension this way. A quarter should come to about here, and then just a pancake, which is just a piece of plywood. There's also a ton of other sizes, but today we're just going to be talking about the full apple. And the full apple is very important because each of the dimensions give you a different height depending on which face you set it on. So this is kind of the fun part. Because full apples have different dimensions on every side, filmmakers came up with a cute way to name the different sides. On this face, the apple box height is going to be at its lowest with its widest, flattest top. This we call Los Angeles. Get it? Because like Los Angeles is so like wide and flat because there's like horrible zoning laws that make it completely unaffordable to live here. This we call Chicago because Chicago kind of has taller buildings, but there's a lot of suburbs, so it's sort of a medium city. And then on the top height, boom, we have New York. And of course, just like you'd be crazy to live in New York, you'd be crazy to stand on top of this. I mean, you better have really good balance. So I'll be referring to these spaces, Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York throughout the rest of the video. Probably the most prominent use case is as a step stool. This is where the 3 different size faces really come into play. Depending on the ratio of how tall you need to be with how brave you are, you can choose the height based on the face that you set down. I don't really have to explain anymore why a step stool is useful, right? The next use case would be as a stool to sit on. Maybe this isn't going to be the most comfortable thing, but you know, if you need a quick chair, maybe you're having a party and you ran out of chairs and maybe you as the host will take the less comfortable apple box to sit on. I really don't mind sitting on apple boxes. You're obviously gonna want to do New York style, like I was in that intro, and just pop a squat here. And I would be willing to experiment with like a module you could set on top that was like a cushion, but obviously you could just throw a blanket over it if you really needed a more comfortable extra seat in a pinch. So I'd say the next use case is as a standing desk. I often found myself like turning a bin over backwards or using a cardboard box to like prop up my laptop to the appropriate height for a standing desk. With an Apple box, or ideally several of them, you can stack them up on your kitchen counter or dining room table to make a little platform for you to set your laptop on, set a notebook on, if you just feel like you need to be on your feet for a little bit. Maybe I can just show you right here. Just pop that on. My kitchen counter height is actually perfect for just a single Los Angeles Apple box, and boom, I've got a standing desk. And let's say you just need a little bit more real estate. Let's say you're a little bit taller. Boom. So while we're on the subject of using multiple boxes, remember I had this side table set up next to my couch there? I actually set that up with one other random box underneath, so I really need a third box if I'm gonna get that to the right height on the Los Angeles face. But that's a really cool idea if you're looking for something like a side table and you don't mind the look of Apple boxes. Then you have a side table, and when you need it, you just dismantle it for extra seating, standing desk, stool, but it has a place to live where it's still functional every single day. So you also saw me use them as a fitness block, and really your results may vary on this, but there's three kind of main uses. There's doing push-ups onto them, there's putting your feet on them and doing push-ups onto the floor, and there is using them as some sort of step. And there's probably more things you can do with, like, oh, you could do like tricep dips. Then I didn't show this one, but sometimes I sit on the floor to do some work with my laptop. So I'll like put it on Los Angeles in front of me, put my laptop on that, and then at least I'm not like a total rug rat. A few other things to note: it has these great handles on the edge, so really easy to carry them around. If you like that furniture idea, but you want it to be semi-permanent, you could just throw some brackets on, drill some screws in. Yeah, I mean, you can even use L brackets. We've also got something like this. This is a kit for drilling holes. Why would you want a hole in your Apple box? You tell me. A few people that I've told this idea to have asked me, well, can you use them for storage? I think that's a separate video. I think we should explore that. I love that this is sort of my foray into modular furniture. Oftentimes, modular furniture is really expensive. There's proprietary modules that need to fit together, or it's like a sofa, and if you want to add a module of an ottoman, like this is more of a modular accessory, but like I demonstrated, you can build it up into a piece of furniture like a side table. You could technically even build a coffee table out of them. I mean, a bed platform, you could do whatever you want. But then it's modular because you can easily take them apart, but also they're durable. They're made out of wood, and they're only $40 each. 40 times 3 is 120, which is about right for a side table, and can be taken apart into a chair, step stool, standing desk. At Lunation, we are very, very interested in working in modularity, but we understand a lot of the limitations that can come with it. Modularity is best when it's accessible, when you can easily buy different modules and easily reconfigure them depending on what your needs are. And there's nothing proprietary about these. I mean, they're wood boxes. I mean, it's like deadly simple, but if you're just smart about choosing the dimensions, the materials, and how it all comes together. And that's why it's persisted in filmmaking, which is very cutthroat and brutal and focused on budgets and efficiency. Someday, I would love to curate our own Apple box that uses FSC certified bamboo, and maybe it's pre-sanded and lacquered to be more useful for the home. Ultimately, this is a good product off the shelf, and we deeply recommend it for your house. If we have sold you on an Apple box, please use the links in our description to make a purchase. We'll get a little affiliate commission at no extra cost to you, and it really goes towards supporting the channel. And of course, subscribe for new content about design every Thursday. Thank you.